Welcome to another episode of Education is Freedom. I'm your host, Dr. Danielle Martin. This is a space where we discuss all things education. And as we know, education takes place both inside and outside of the classroom. So this is a space where fearless, purpose-driven female leaders and change makers from all over the globe unite. And so I want you to tap in and let's get started, okay? So I'm so excited for this evening's guest, okay? I'm going to introduce her, read a bit of her bio, and then she's going to come in and join us. So excited to have my sister friend here with me, the one, the only, the queen, the voice, Dr. Shaashawn S. Dial. Dr. Shaashawn Dial is a self-identified proud Army brat born in Germany, attending her first 2 years of high school in Seoul, Korea, and studied for 6 months at St. Peter's College in Oxford, England. She was nicknamed The Voice by the Harrisburg, Pennsylvania poetry scene and her BFF and business partner, Nadine. Dr. Shaashawn is known for her huge smile, smooth alto voice through which you can hear her smile on radio airwaves. She is an award-winning radio broadcaster, author, edutaining facilitator, engaging mistress of ceremonies, polished plenary moderator, thorough panelist, and unapologetic advocate, disruptor, and leader scholar. Dr. Shaashawn is the founder of Boisterous Media, LLC, providing consulting services via curriculum development, professional development, facilitation experiences regarding justice, equity, diversity, inclusion, and belonging, and voiceover services. Shaashawn is the author of 2 books, okay, so you want to write this down. Acquired Taste of Love, Spice-Filled Poems to Please Your Palate and Estrogen in the Atmosphere, honey. That was out in 2014. And a spoken word CD, which I have titled Voicemail. Let's see. Dr. Shaashawn's formal education includes a PhD in Administration and Leadership Studies from Indiana University of Pennsylvania, a master's in Public Administration from Shippensburg University in Shippensburg, Pennsylvania, a graduate certificate in Academic Advising and Higher Education from Kansas State University, Manhattan, Kansas, and a BA in Philosophy, Law, and Rhetoric from Stevens College, Columbia, Missouri. Dr. Shaashawn is a lifelong learner and embraces opportunities for consistent professional development. Dr. Shaashawn's purpose is to use her gift, her alto voice, for the facilitated exchange of information infused with arts performance to raise consciousness, close disparity gaps, minimize exclusion, while striving for liberation from isms, phobias, discrimination, and oppression. Shaashawn is on a mission to connect people to people and people to information by taking private conversations public, practicing the art of getting comfortable being uncomfortable, especially when defensiveness and awkwardness show up. Dr. Shaashawn creates a brave learning environment for individuals, communities, and organizations to reflect upon values and build skills. Please help me welcome my friend, my sister girl, my sister doc, Dr. Shaashawn S. Dial. Boom. Guess who stepped in the room? Yes.
Hello, listen. Queen Doctor. Thank you, Asante. Gracias. Thank you. What a beautiful, beautiful introduction from a beautiful, brilliant, bold, amazing woman of Delta Sigma Theta Sorority Incorporated. Hello. Let me greet you properly, Dr. Danielle Danny Martin. Hey.
Listen, y'all, first of all, if you are not this excited, if you do not receive this amount of love when you see your friends, your sister girls, your sister docs, your sister Greeks, honey, you need to get you some new friends.
Okay? Absolutely. Because it's all affection, love, cheerleading.
Oh my gosh.
From Missouri to Pennsylvania. It's hearts. It is emojis. It is prayers. It is positive energy. It is huge smiles. That's how we've always been when I lived in the 717. And now that I'm in the 573, nothing's changed.
Always love. Always love. This is you all. So this is someone who I absolutely adore, admire, have followed, keep up with, watch, learn from, all the things. And I'm just so excited to have her here. Thank you for answering my call. Thank you for being here. And thank you for, I'm going to thank you in advance for the conversation because I already know it's about to be some flames up in here. Okay.
Thank you for the invitation, the space. So proud of you. All of the accomplishments, publishing articles, making sure your young adults are entering their next chapter. I mean, just all that you've got going, leading, pouring, mentoring, facilitating. I'm here for it. So thank you for thinking of me and Boisterous Media LLC.
Yes, yes. But let's get into it. Okay, let's get
Okay.
into it. Before we jump right all the way into the topic, I do want to just take a minute to highlight your educational journey. My goodness, congratulations on the PhD. That is the major. But how did you land? And I did read a bit of her bio, ladies and gentlemen, friends, everybody. My goodness, this bio is incredible. I did not want to chop it up, but I do want her to be able to speak to some of the things in there. So, whew, child, how did you land at this point in your career, and what motivated you to be in this current space?
I love that question. So I'm going to say being well rounded, right? So, what the bio doesn't tell you is that I was one of those front row, work hard kind of students, of not a great test taker. So,
Mm-hmm.
none of my SAT, ACT, LSAT, GRE, none of those standardized tests did this sister excel on. Not at all. And my parents invested in the prep courses. And yes, it made mine jump a couple points. But for all intents and purposes and a reality lens, I'm not a great test taker. I don't answer things often in binary ways of yes or no. I'm always kind of in the gray. And so the bio doesn't tell you that, right? That I was well rounded. I played soccer, ran track, played basketball. So, yes, I was an athlete, but I definitely was an aspiring scholar as well. So, honor society, academics, AP classes, right? All of that. But then I could move between the different social groups in middle school, high school, often because I was an army brat. So I was the new girl and had to show up and observe everybody and figure out my lane and then go work the
Mm,
heck out of my lane. And
yeah.
so I think all of that just basically made me well rounded. And when it came to undergrad, looking at college, I knew I wanted something small because I thought I could get lost in a really big school. So I
Mm-hmm.
applied to 8 or 9 undergrads, definitely applied for any type of free money. And so
Okay.
ended up selecting a women's college, which that wasn't my intention. Honestly, it was the opposite of like, what? A women's college. And that happens to a lot of women's college graduates. We
Mhm.
then get there and we realize it's the best decision we've ever made because rarely do you ever get, for me, it was 4 years to just focus on myself. I could go find, folks assigned male at birth if I wanted to, but I
Mhm.
didn't have to compete with them. And the focus was on me in the
Yeah.
classroom, even on the soccer field, everywhere I went. And so that changed this 18 to 22-year-old in incredible positive ways. And we got messages like, if you like guitar and basket weaving, put your passions together and the money will follow. Like, what incredible messages to get when you're
Yeah.
18 to 22, right? So essentially, but I competed. So I tell everybody, go get this free money for school,
Mhm.
right? And it's not a one-way street.
Mhm.
If you are a parent, a guardian, a young person, an older person, seasoned in life, but looking at education, do not follow the messages that just say this school can do XYZ for you. Mm-mm.
Mm.
Because you're a value add to that institution. So you should be looking for two-way messages. Oh, well, we'll do this for you. We have this to offer in our alumni network and da 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 da. But then they should also be telling you, but we need you. We need
Yes.
identities. We need your work ethic. We need your skills, time, talent, treasures. and two-way street is where it is. And so because of that, go compete for scholarships, ask, look at it like a negotiation. Because the secret we know from being in higher ed is what? There are fewer students traditionally competing, right? So the schools do
Yes.
the work to get you.
Right.
So compete for scholarships, ask for money, negotiate, see what you can you get any, credits for life experience? Just
Hmm.
ask. We know the worst they could do is say what? No.
Right.
Okay. Thanks.
Right.
So that
But
was
you
undergrad.
have not because you asked not.
Exactly. And
Yeah.
so from undergrad, well, really from the age of 13 on, I thought I was going to be a lawyer. So I had told everybody, I had my little elevator speech. I mean, family, extended
Yes.
family were hook, line, and sinker that I was going to be a lawyer. And up until my senior year, I applied to 8 law schools again, LSAT, the whole thing was rejected from 8 out of 9 schools.
Hmm.
And it rocked my whole foundation. And the one school I was accepted at was part-time evening program. I had an apartment hunted in that city because it was on the East Coast. And so it really made me sit and be like, well, why did you think you wanted to go to law school? And if you can't go to law school, what you going to do next?
Right.
And so then I went and got the master's degree in public administration because I was like, okay, systems, I can always learn how systems run better,
Yeah.
right? Whether that's government systems, medical systems, religious systems, law and enforcement systems, media systems, right? And so I did that in about a year and a half, maybe 2 years. And then after that, I was like, all right, it's time to go make some money because the sister has been
Hmm.
a student for 6 years, right? And so that really started my career, which again, now I say I am well rounded and have been able to see threads through different industries. And I think that's my
Mm.
strength. So whether it's
Yes.
diversity, equity, justice, inclusion, belonging, whether it is storytelling, I can say I've worked in human social services, broadcast radio, higher education, specifically community college and 4-year institutions. I have worked in local municipality government. I am
Mm.
currently in
Mm.
healthcare. And then as a consultant, I launched my own micro business. So essentially, entrepreneurship. So
Yes.
now I can see how isms and phobias, how joy, how storytelling shows up in all these different fields. And that's where I'm at right now in my career. Is like, do I want to continue in healthcare? Do I want to do something else?
Yeah.
Add? Yeah.
My goodness. Okay. Well, first of all, if you're just tuning in, I need you to like and share this episode. I need you to join us on the She Is Still Dope network. But I also need you to get a pencil and some paper because my sister's in here dropping all kinds of gems already. And that was just the first question. So, our topic today, our episode is called Preparation, Purpose, and Persistence: The Power of Mentorship. Okay, this is heavy for you all out there, but this is going to be so good. A previous conversation before Shaashawn and I, Dr. Shaashawn and I came on in front of you. Oh my gosh, we spent what, like 2 hours on the phone, and
Absolutely. Like
and this,
ease.
like, oh my gosh. But mentorship is something that is important to the both of us. And one thing that I always share with whoever will listen, but I am really a person who I'm serious about trying to give people their flowers while they're still here with us to celebrate them, and to not for anything else, to thank them. Dr. Shaashawn is somebody that I have to give flowers to every time I am able to. She might get sick of it, but it don't really matter because I'm gonna give them to her anyway. Dr. Shaashawn is somebody who took a chance on me in my career. She's one of the first people who gave me a chance to teach in higher education. My God, how many years ago was that? Got to be over. Was it a 10? I think it was. It was.
Somewhere between 9 and 11. Yeah.
Yeah, yeah, um, yeah. Because that was before I left the school district. Took a chance on me and asked me to come and do presentation for her scholars at the time who were freshmen. At that particular time in my career, I'd never stepped foot in a college classroom. I'm a trained teacher, so I've been in teachers, classrooms K-12 prior to, but she's the one who really opened the door for me to walk through on, a collegiate level. Fast forward 9 to 11 years later, I am now in a collegiate classroom teaching undergrads and possibly will have the opportunity to teach on a master's level and a doctoral level because she took the chance on me. So I want to ask this question, mentorship matters. And what has it meant to you in your personal and professional journey?
Great question. And thank you. I receive my flowers. I think a lot of us, especially, Black women or female identified persons, don't do that so well. We will give a compliment. Hey, stripes. Hey, polka dot.
Right.
Right. Hey, nail color.
Right.
Hey,
Yes.
earrings. We will do that, but it's hard for us to receive that back.
Yeah.
So I receive it. And you and I think, are testimonies of the power of a referral. Right. One of
Yeah.
my gifts to anybody who chooses to prioritize time and listen to us is, who are you putting on? Who's your squad? Who's your A team? Who's your dream team? Whatever decade, whatever connotation, whatever name you want to give it. Who are those people that are dope to you, that you learn from, that you love to conversate with on the phone, video chat, that you will sit in a classroom and watch them give a presentation? If it moves you, you know it's going to move somebody else. And so I literally have a document that I can fire off in 5 minutes to anybody that has my top 10 folks. You're on it. Dr. Darian Davenport, Dr. Kai Smith Morris, right? Keisha McToy, Dr. Brandy Hunter Davenport, Maya Chapeau, Early Warren. I mean, I've got my group. Some are in my inner circle, but some are on the periphery. But still, I'm going to put them on. Right. So one of the things I challenge people is, if an opportunity comes your way and you don't want it, or you're unavailable to take it, don't just say no or pass on it or say no, thank you. Do it with a referral. Right. My plate's full right now. Or, this isn't in alignment with what I'm doing right now, but I think I know someone who may enjoy this, or may be willing or available, or who I just think you should have a conversation with, and you two explore possibilities. I don't send an email. I don't end a phone call without that kind of referral. And so I'll bring it back to your question.
I love that.
To me, that's an element of mentorship.
Yes.
Right? Because if you go look at formal definitions, it says an experienced and trusted advisor. At the base, at the minimum, that's what a mentor is: a trusted and experienced advisor. So when we start to marinate on that, that can be the village aunties, uncles.
Yeah.
That might be some of our siblings. If you have older siblings, I'm a firstborn, so that don't work for me. But other people who I adopt, for me, a lot of my extended family is military. So I have a village, literally a collective of village aunties and uncles. They are not blood related to me, but I will fight you over my aunts and my uncles.
Okay, come on.
Cousins, right? Their children. And so some of them could fit that definition of experienced and trusted advisor. And not just because they might be chronologically older than me, but because they went and got a PhD or an EDD before me.
Okay.
Yeah. So they could pour into me when I was applying, when I was doing coursework, when I had comp exams, when I had to do dissertation defense proposal, when I had to write them 5 chapters, when I had to defend it, when I had to do revisions, and finally graduation.
Yeah.
Right. That's 8 different stages of a process that if I'm open, people can give me some guidance, some wisdom, some do's, some don'ts, some suggestions. Doesn't mean I have to take them. But having people in your life who invest in you like that is a beautiful thing, right? Beautiful thing. And so mentors have been everything to me because, one, I do think I was an older soul, right? I was the only child for 12 years. And so I was around adults a lot. I mean, I could be with kids, but when the street lights came on, I was with adults. And the way my parents reared me, I often was allowed to be there. at the
Mhm.
table. It was a little bit of be seen and not heard in certain environments.
Right.
In a lot of environments, I was welcome to kind of participate. And so I value wise, experienced elders. I love
Mhm.
dialogue. I love conversation. I know, I love me a free masterclass, right? I love a free panel. I love a free webinar. People say I'm a
Yes.
lifelong learner, and that's true. I would identify that way. But how do you break that down and make it tangible? Is I jump on free stuff all the time. I will give up an hour of my time to go
Yeah.
watch a facilitator or someone teach on a topic that I don't really know a lot about, or I can
Mhm.
even think I'm a subject matter expert, but I'm going to go watch it because I want to see how they facilitate it.
Right.
So it could be the content I'm learning, or it could be the facilitation that I'm learning from. And so having mentors, I think, who say, help you realize you don't know it all. And you're not supposed to know it all. If you think you know it all, you're
That
dangerous,
part. Ooh,
right? You're dangerous. It's just like
you're
the people who say,
dangerous.
I'm not racist, I'm not sexist, I'm not. Okay, then you're probably dangerous to me because all of us possess bias.
Ooh.
All of us possess prejudice and stereotypes. We should be working through it. We should be trying to identify them. But if you really want to put your chest out in front of me and say, yeah, I don't see color, or I just see people for people, I'm across the street. You're dangerous because that means you're either on autopilot, you're on denial, and
Yes.
that means you're probably going to cause me some harm. No thanks.
No thanks.
No thanks.
Bye. Mm. Bye.
Deuces, peace. No. So yeah, I love
Ooh.
mentorship for that reason, because it's people who pour into you. They may identify and name something that they see in you before you see it in yourself.
Mm. And I've had that happen a whole lot of times. A,
Right?
a whole and because you don't see it initially, it's kind of like, uh, but which back to your bio talked about being uncomfortable, right? Maybe you don't want to see it because it is uncomfortable for you, but ooh, yeah, I've had that happen many a day.
Right? And you may have thought the skill you possess is just a hobby or it's a
Right.
talent, right? We often categorize and demean something of our
Mm,
own, but
and
having a
minimize.
trusted, experienced advisor
Yeah.
is saying, oh, dear heart, that skill, you've cultivated that skill. That is a polish for you. Go lean into that. Right now, you're spending a bunch of time trying to, improve an area of opportunity. And there's nothing wrong with that,
Right.
right? I can
Right.
always get better at math, but the truth is, a sister got to have a calculator. So that's not my strength. So I'm only going to spend so much time doing
Right.
math and quant stuff. What I lean into is my gift. That's qual. It's
Mm,
people. It's focus groups and
mhm.
interviews and documenting people's history, their story. It's that. And
It's
so
that
mentors have told me that.
relation.
Mentors have said, you have
Yeah.
a unique alto voice for a woman. Have you ever thought about broadcasting? I was like, nope. And then when I was in broadcasting, it was like, have you ever thought about voiceover services? Nope.
Nope.
And it was
Mm,
like, I didn't go to school for that. Right. Oh, I don't have a degree in that. I don't have a certification in that. That was my brain, my minimization,
right.
where other people pouring into me was like, well, either decide if you want to go get those things, or why don't you ask for a shadow day? Why don't you ask to go see what they do?
Mm,
Right. And then it's like, oh, right, there's other paths to
right.
get there than what we may have heard in our places of dwelling or our faith communities or from loved ones. There's a bunch of different paths. And that's why I think a lot of my work is what I say is busting the binary. Most of us, it's just easy, right? One or two, tall, short, fat, thin, black, white. It's just an oversimplification. And a lot of my work is saying, oh no, what's the third? I'm never going to give you less than three.
Yeah.
So that we're already busting the binary,
Yeah.
right? And, there's 5, 6, 7 possibilities. Let's lean into that. So anyway, all of that just to say
Mm,
that, yeah, mentorship. And I hope people take away that, yes, there's formal mentorship, and we'll get into that a little bit, because I went back through some of my notes to see how I've structured those
Yeah.
formal mentee mentorships. But I don't want people to get caught up in that and also think it has to be formal.
Right.
You
Right.
can identify folks who are trusted and experienced advisors. And then it's for you to say, I just want it in my professional life. Okay, so then go look at your industry and figure out how your industry defines mentorship. Because it's going to look different in the armed forces,
Yeah.
than it is in business, than it is
Right.
in higher ed. So cool. Someone may say, I want a personal one, right? To help me develop my character, to see myself in a light that I might not. Someone may say, oh, I want someone who I can trust and be vulnerable, who can do both. Who's
Yeah.
looking at it holistically, right? All of
Ooh.
those are valid and fine.
And so, you also have to be, I heard you say something a while ago. You said if you're open. Yeah, you have to be open and willing. So when, your experienced and trusted advisor was saying to you, have you ever thought about broadcast radio? Have you ever thought about this? Have you ever, as uncomfortable as that might sound in the moment, or, even if you are afraid, you have to be open to it, right? Because that's how you grow. That's how
Absolutely.
you grow. And so, okay. So then what should somebody look for in a mentor? Like, how do you even determine if someone should serve as a mentor for you?
Sure. I think going back, kind of think what you think you may want. Are you looking for someone to look at you holistically? So, what could potentially be on the table is personal and professional life. Are you looking for someone just to help you get to the next level in your career? There's nothing wrong with that. You could be trying to identify a mentor in your workplace or in your
Mhm.
school,
Mhm.
right? You could be playing a certain position on a team. You want to go play another position. So, you might just want to identify someone from the coaching staff,
Yeah.
right, to have that conversation with.
Mhm.
So you got to figure out that first. Then after that, the most important to me is trust, right?
Come
Who
on.
have you
Yep.
seen that is showing up, that walks the walk and talks the talk, or as and at least in alignment for those who go
Mhm.
to a chiropractor, right? I don't want you to be out here talking all this stuff and then you don't show up.
Right.
Right. So who do you trust that you've seen them, that what they say they do or how they do it is consistently how they show up? And then also, is there an interest?
Mhm.
Right. Some
Mhm.
people got life. Life's out here lifing
Right.
for a
Real
lot
bad.
of people,
Real
right?
bad. Real bad.
And so you've got to find out if you're open and if they're open. And then you want to define those things, right? And so, again, if you're looking more towards like a formal mentorship, then
Mhm.
I encourage people, one, you approach someone in that way. Hi,
Yeah.
can we have a 30-minute conversation about potentially entering a mentorship? Go get a warm beverage, go for coffee. It could be virtual, 30-minute Zoom or Teams meeting.
I love that.
Have something where you just discuss the possibility. Are
Right.
you open? Do you have time in your calendar, personal life, professional life right now? Do you even have an interest? You got to just have that little half an hour thing. Then, if the both of you say yes, and give yourself time, like you don't have to come out of that half an hour saying yes, give yourself like a week or two, but
Yeah.
tell each other, let's connect in a week or two and just share the answers. No harm, no foul, no judgment. If
Right.
you both come back after that and say yes, then my suggestions are one, you identify frequency. Dr. Danny, how often are we going to meet? We meeting once a month. We
Yeah.
meet once a week. We're meeting once a quarter, so every 3 months. We
Yeah.
meeting once every 6 months. How are we going to do? Because once we establish that, the rest of it becomes really easy. But a lot of people get their miscommunication,
Yes.
feelings get hurt, or
Yes.
expectations get disappointed or not met
Right.
when people haven't just said, our frequency, we're going to do once a month, right? Then the next part becomes location,
Mm.
right? So are we in a formal setting? Are we going to be in a social setting? Is that setting going to move every month? Is it
Mhm.
going to stay the same? Do we want a
Mhm.
public place? Do we want a
Right.
private place? Like really figuring out location. Because again,
Mhm.
that's going to affirm, squeeze, hug, right? whatever direction y'all are trying to go at. So if it's strictly a work thing, then y'all don't need to be meeting socially.
Right.
Because that might be a boundary cross for some people.
Right.
If
Ooh,
we're talking
boundaries.
holistically, right, then it could be we're going to break bread at a restaurant and we're going to pick Black owned and brown owned restaurants once a
Right.
month. So by the end of the year, we would have visited 12 different Black and brown owned restaurants. If that's important to both people, for me,
Right.
that's important.
Yes.
Right. So whether I'm a mentor or a mentee, people know Shaashawn loves supporting Black and brown owned businesses, especially female Black and brown owned businesses. Let's go. I work hard for my money and I like parting with my money for those types of businesses. So I'm going to put that on the table to anyone entering a mentorship or menteeship with me.
Yes.
So after location, then it becomes the type of connection. We doing this virtually, we in person, we hybrid. We're going to do like if we did every month, or once in person and once virtual, just because we're trying to work on different skills.
Right.
Or is it always going to be in person? So picking essentially your format. And then preparation. Here comes expectation. Do I need to come prepared with some homework? Are we going to identify a topic that month? Is it going to be organic and we just going to dialogue and let the conversation go? And then we'll have follow-up homework that then may guide the next month, right? It depends. No right, no wrong. Just if we don't talk about it, then each person or each party involved is doing a whole bunch of mental gymnastics.
Right. For no reason.
Person isn't privy to.
Right.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And so then out of that,
know what? I do want to say this too. Your mentor does not have to look like you or identify as you do. I have a male mentor who is also a doctor who encouraged me to go back to school and get my doctorate degree, but also will call me up. And this goes back to your point about being open. Will call me up out of the blue. How you doing, Dr. Danny? All right, great. Listen, and will gather me very, very quickly, very professionally. I'm always taking notes. I don't even think he knew this, but I'm always taking notes when I'm talking to him.
Flowers for the doctor. Yes.
He's always dropping just gems on me. And, I'm so caught up in the conversation, I'm afraid that I won't remember what he said. So I'm always like, and he just gathers me in love, but challenges me. Back to the point of you saying that sometimes they see something in you that you don't see maybe at that moment, gathers me and challenges me and tells me, go do my thing. I'm proud of you. God bless you. I'll be watching.
You better come with the blueprint. You just answered your own question. That's a huge element of who can also challenge you. I love your wording, gather you. Another one might be hold you accountable with substance and love. So that's my semicolon though, right? Because we know lots of people in our lives who want to challenge us just because that's their personality or they're a dream snatcher or they're a negative Nelly or whatever. And so I'm not talking about those people. I'm talking about the people who challenge you with substance.
Yeah.
When they say, oh, our last call, you said you were going to do X, Y, Z. It's been 30, 45, 60 days. Where are we on that? And if our answer is didn't get to it, they go, okay, now, sister.
Yeah, real quick.
Do you want it or do you not? Are you prioritizing it? That's being challenged in love, accountability, gathering you, like you said. You need somebody that, to me, that's a big part of trust.
Yeah.
Right? Because if I think you might be a little bit jealous or, envious or just holding on to something, then I can't be that vulnerable and open with you. But if I know you want me to win, if I know you're looking out for me, then you get to challenge me in love.
All day.
You get to challenge me and say, sister, what's our priorities? What are we afraid of?
Yes.
What are we procrastinating about?
Yeah.
That's an element of mentorship, whether it's formal,
and it's so nice
whether it's informal,
to have that conversation in a non-threatening environment with somebody that you trust. And so I'm going to just drop his name. I do have to say thank you to Dr. Irvin Clark of Piedmont Technical College down in Georgia.
Come on, Dr. Irvin
So
Clark.
very much for challenging me, loving on me, holding me accountable, and pushing me to be my best self. Listen, if you all out here are just chiming in, please like and share this podcast. This is where it's at. We are getting into it. Please join us on the She Is Still Dope app. Listen, we got all the things, all the things we're educating you on. So having said all of this about mentorship, what are some ways that we can pay it forward?
That's a really good one. Well, first, I want to say role modeling, right? So, what we've already done in this conversation, I think we need to shout out people more often, whether, like you said, it's giving flowers and that's someone's approach, whether it's just naming the people who've contributed to our journeys. I think that's a big part of it because I think there's some people who really believe their successes are all about them, right? And that they did all the hard work. And
Self-made, right?
right,
Can
right,
we're not
right.
self-made. We're
No,
not. I'm sorry to bust
no.
somebody's bubble, but here's the piece of education for you tonight. You're not self-made. Okay?
Can we
Stop.
name it? Can we name it? Because
Let's name
depending
it.
on you, depending on your identities, whatever, someone's plural, we're praying for you. We're celebrating
Yes.
you. Removed obstacles or hurdles that you didn't even know had already been erected, but they took care of it before you even saw it. So you didn't do anything. Yes, you did some actions, right? I tell people, yes, there were nights, mornings I wrote in isolation to get this
Yes.
PhD, but I literally have 9 pages of acknowledgments in my dissertation because I know that this accomplishment wasn't singular.
Yeah.
It was prayers. It was people sending me memes when I'm up at 2 a.m. writing and I needed to laugh because I'm getting ready to cry.
Right.
It is the inner circle who called me Dr. Shaashawn when I was still doing coursework.
Yeah. Yeah.
Right? They don't know how they were being in their truth, but you were helping me because that first night I was saying, do I deserve to be here? Can I do this?
Do I belong in this space?
Do I belong in this space? And I was the only Black woman in my cohort. Right. And often if you're the only one, people underestimate how much
that's a whole nother podcast.
Yes. You need the affirmation, the confirmation, the text messages, the handwritten note that just says, sis, I believe in you. I see you. Right. That was a no-brainer when I reached out to you and said, I've got summer bridge students, first year freshmen transitioning high school to college. I want to put people who mirror their identities in front of them in the classroom that they can literally touch, see, ask questions about to tell their powerful stories about not just I rock these credentials. How did I get here? What did I overcome? Because often, right, and rightfully so, we put pressure, energy on the first to do it, the innovators, the trailblazers, the first. What I always say as a storyteller is we rarely ask them, what did you have to give up? What did you have to sacrifice? What pain did you endure and could still be living with or trying to heal from accomplishing that feat? Right? That's a whole thing in itself. We just see, oh, they did it. They got the limelight. They got the prize money.
That's really acknowledging and humanizing them because we don't do that. We say you're the first and we hold you up here and that's it. You don't get the feel and anything. But I love that. What did you have to sacrifice to be here? I love that.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
Ooh. Ooh,
yes. And even thinking about, I fight the urge to resist, right? It seems to happen in the entertainment industry all the time. Somebody comes on the scene. I remember like when Tabitha Brown hit, for instance, right? There's a lot of talk of like, oh, look at all this success she's getting and she's everywhere. And it'd be like, nah, resist that urge. Right? Because we don't know that sister's story. This is before she published the books and everything. It's at least 10,000 hours, they say, before you master something, before you become a subject matter expert. So how was she doing those 10,000 hours? We weren't in her kitchen when she's mastering the recipes. Yes, I go to Walmart and buy online from Amazon her seasonings.
Yes, honey. I got me some Tab spices.
How long she poured into that. Or I think
Right.
about our fabulous folks from the 717, shout out, formerly known as Soul Burrito, now Nakobe Foods.
Yes.
They are Black millionaires. So we just gonna focus on the Black millionaire part? No, I focus on this amazing married couple who each left their individual professions when raising children to go
Mm,
start a food truck, to then go to a retail space, to now be global
mm.
wholesalers of their own products and spices. That's a whole lot of sacrifice, tears, crying, probably praying together, praying
Time.
separate, trial and error, throwing out produce, like stuff we can't even fathom.
Right.
Right. So it's
Right.
like we that's where we can do our work and say, no,
Mm.
no, no, I'm not gonna I love them. I love the song Must Be Nice.
Who? Life Jennings?
Yes, Life Jennings, right? I love that song and I appreciate the sentiment, but at the same time, I have to take it out my rotation sometimes because I
Yeah.
don't even want it to enter my consciousness of looking at people that way and
Ooh.
being like, "Oh, that must be nice," as if they didn't work for it
As if
or
they
it
didn't
just
work
was
for
given
it.
to them. But it's in rotation. Don't get me twisted. It's in
Right.
the rotation,
Right.
but I can't necessarily put it on repeat 4 or 5
Right.
times because I don't even want to navigate this world with that.
Ooh.
I want to look at people and be like, how much sacrifice, how much, what did they give up?
Mm.
What were the tools they used to
Mm-hmm.
heal
Mm-hmm.
and navigate?
Mm-hmm.
Because we know everybody's got stuff going on. If it's not them, it's their partner or partners, it's their
Right.
children, it's the extended family, it's the workplace, it's health, it's money, something.
Something. Woo.
So then it brings it
Woo.
back to mentorship. Who you need people in your camp. You need people cheering for you. You need people challenging you. And then on the flip side, who can you do that for?
Who can you do that for?
Who can
Because
you bring
somebody
with
did it for
you?
you. And somebody's, whether people know it or not, somebody's blessing is attached to you. So it is not, I'm gonna say this, sounds like it a little bit, but it's not. It's not all about you. Somebody's blessing is attached to you. Somebody was waiting for you and I to finish these degrees because it gave them encouragement, it gave them inspiration. Somebody was waiting for you and I to give our testimony about what we did sacrifice to be able to do this. Okay, because you also shared a statistic with me. You are what? One of only 4.4% of women.
Yeah, 4.4% of PhDs are Black women. Right? So it's a testimony to I'm now extremely privileged. Let's nail that. Extremely privileged. But by saying that, that doesn't take away from the fact that I'd had an 8-year journey. You know
Yes.
how much life happened in those 8
Yes,
years?
somebody needs to hear that. Somebody's blessing is attached to that. So it's not all about us all the time. That's why we mentor. That's why we pay it forward. That's why we refer. That's why we're doing all. I got my notes, sis. You've been talking, and I got all the things over here written down, as I hope you are. To the audience, listen, like, share, love, talk about it. Let's go. Join the She Is Still Dope community app. What? We've got all the people. Subscribe now. This very village that Dr. Shaashawn is talking about, that we are talking about today, is part of the She Is Still Dope community.
Yeah.
Somebody needs somebody.
Look, that's why I say queen doctors, right? You can testify. I scream it on social media. It's my favorite hashtag, all of it, queen doctors, right? I'm acknowledging the Dr. Liney Carters and of course, and who are our other fellow doctors? Dr. Erica Neville's here in Columbia, Missouri.
Dr. Erica Pinckney. We've
got
Dr. Dawn Crossan. We've got Dr. Amber Sessoms. We've got Dr. Nicole Holland Sims. We've got
Dr. Felicia Brown Haywood.
Yes.
One of the first tangible chocolatey sisters. And
Chocolatey.
I was like, Thank you for giving me a tangible woman. I watched her facilitate. I watched her, navigate rooms and navigate higher ed. And on those nights where I was like, can I do this? I don't know if I want to do this. I'd be like, these women did it before me. And often I would say it was harder. Right. I even think about the ancestors who were like the first to integrate places. Woo. And people spit on them and tried to make them fail. Yes, we have hurdles and obstacles, but for the most part, once we enroll in a program, they want us to graduate because they want our checks. They want us to become alums, and they want to be able to check a couple boxes because of our identities, right? So, but think about those ancestors. It's like voting. I'm going to vote at everything local, state, regional.
Federal, say it again, right? For the people in the back.
And they're making it hard. Like, let's name it. They're making it hard right now. But even what we're going through now isn't even an iota of what our ancestors went through for that right. So again, that piece of trusted, experienced advisor who has experience, who's done where you want to go, who's accomplished what you think you want to accomplish. Because the other piece is it may not be for you.
Yeah.
I remember being at the radio station. One of my favorite days was when I was in partnership with a local high school in Harrisburg, and they had Community Partner Day. And I would get a whole big group of students who would come to the radio station. And you would think the joy would be me being able to be like the local celebrity. It was the amount of students that were like, oh yeah, this radio ain't for me.
Yeah.
Because they realize it's not just show up, hit the mic button and the on, talk for 4 hours and get off. It was, if it snows or rains, you still got to get in the station and then give the weather report that says stay home. They didn't realize you have to read and summarize, shout out to English teachers, all this information to be able to do a 30-second or minute and a half bit on air. They didn't realize that when you do your shift, you then go and cut commercials for another hour or two. Right. So they were able to see, oh, this isn't as glamorous as I thought. So defining and knowing who you are and what you want is just as important as defining who you're not and what you don't want to do. And sometimes shadowing, paid internships, preferably. We came from a generation where they didn't pay us. It was free labor. But if you can, paid internships, externships, whatever you can do, go find out, is it what you think it is? It might. Some people got the radio bug from being in there with me, but other people were like, I'm good. But either way, they now have a respect for the profession. Just like event planners, just like MCs. Everybody thinks they can MC till you go to MC.
Okay.
And realize how much prep work you had to do, how hard you got to do to make it look flow. There are fires going on behind you, but you have to be the calm and you got to read your audience. So that everybody wants you to do that for free. No, boo, you got to pay me because that's a skill set, right? Just like event planning. Everybody thinks it's so easy, but those are the people who haven't planned nothing.
No, boo, you got to pay me. Come on here, coins.
We're done with free.
Okay.
The skill set is established. The bar has been there. You've seen me do enough poems or event or moderate a panel, pay me. And with that, then what's your system? Like a mentor told me, okay, this whole paid thing, how about you do one pro bono thing a month? So by the end of the year, you've done 12. Whoever approaches you first that month, congratulations, you get my skill set for free. But after that, if you get approached and somebody wants you to do something for free, you go, oh, I would have loved to, but I've already done my pro bono thing for the month. So if you can find, some money or budget or some in-kind donation, let's talk. If not, then I'll refer you to somebody who might.
Oh,
all of it is a win-win. Right? All of it is a win.
All of it. Yeah. Yeah. Absolutely nothing wrong with that. That is great.
But that's an experienced, trusted advisor pouring into me or just saying something in conversation that I go, ooh, that is so good. Or I needed that because as a person, I was struggling with saying no. I didn't have good boundaries. I would go do it for free and then feel bitter that I put all this work into writing a poem and show up and deliver this poem for you when I know I really needed to get paid. So when people said, okay, we'll say, you know what, my plate's overflowing, check back with me in 90 days. Over half the people don't check back with you because they needed your yes then because it's convenient for them. It wasn't about me.
Woo.
It was convenient for them.
Yeah.
But once
Yeah.
I realized that, I was like, oh, honey, this is a worth value thing for yourself.
Okay.
So shout
Okay.
out, go get yourself a therapist if you don't have one. That could
Yes.
be the other piece of this too, is your experienced trusted advisor might be in the form of a therapist.
Of a
Because again,
therapist.
if you have a good therapist and they want you to win and you have identified things that you're working on, that a lot of this benefit can happen as well. So shout out to a good therapist because I
Ooh-wee.
love mine. Yes. Yeah.
Oh, so my good sister, I'm so sad that we are nearing the end of our time here. But listen, if you all, I'm gonna need you to like, share, replay, tell somebody about it. Show up every second and fourth Tuesday of the month at 7 o'clock. Because we talk about some things here. Okay, so
Absolutely.
I was gonna ask you. I don't even think I need to ask you this no more. But I was going to ask you, what would you say to the person who was watching and or listening to this podcast right now? How would you encourage them? But I don't even know that you really need to answer that because I mean you can if you want to, but if you all aren't encouraged and inspired by now, I'm about to say what's wrong.
Well, you know what? In the spirit of this conversation of
You
like
can answer that.
being lifelong learners and being a mentee, being a mentor, all that good stuff. I'm a huge appreciator of Urban View, channel 126 on Sirius XM. And I really,
Okay.
really appreciate the Karen Hunter show. And there is a commentator who comes on most Mondays, Dr. Danielle Black, who teaches, I think, at Clark Atlanta. He is amazing. And I'm currently such a huge appreciator, collecting his books, reading them. But just a couple days ago, he said, a lot of people talk about purpose, right? Trying to find their purpose. And the way, and I'm doing a loose paraphrase, but I will do my best to follow up with you and email you his direct quote because I went back, paused the app, and wrote it down. But he said, if you're trying to find your purpose, you have to get still and ask yourself, what would I do on this planet solely by myself that brings me joy?
Oh.
And I'm
Oh,
sitting with that right now, right? So
yeah.
I'm walking the walk and talking the talk. For my next chapter of Dr. Shaashawn and what I'm leaning into, I've have to get still, which means
Yeah.
I'm celebrating the 8-year journey. I am not saying yes to a whole bunch of new stuff right now because
Yes. Me
I don't
either.
right. I'll fill the void, then we just get busy and we never
Right.
sit with it and truly let that marinate. What are our lessons we're extracting from our doctoral journeys, right? So getting still means celebrating, and then it means being in the present, and then it means strategically designing the future. So I am I'm taking walks in the morning, I'm in the car, choosing sometimes not to play music so that I can say, I'm on this planet. What would I do? Not get paid, do it by myself, and it would still bring me joy. That when I get still and clear about the answer to that, I will be launching into the next chapter, but I don't know what that is yet.
Mm. Mm. Well, I'm glad I did ask the question.
Yeah, so I share that Dr. Danielle Black, he's amazing. I'll send you some links and stuff that we can always follow up with. But, I mean, and just that, the teachers can come from Sirius XM. I've never met any of those people.
Right.
But the conversations, the dialogue, the unapologetic love for Black and Brown and Indigenous people on that platform is feeding my soul, whether it's book recommendations, whether it's talks about health and technology. And, you know, the Budgetnista was just on there a day or two ago talking about finances. Like, let's go, teachers.
Yeah.
And to your point, you could be a teacher in K through 12. Thank you. We love you. Bless you. Your skill may be the ability to teach, and it may not be in a classroom.
That part.
It may be on social media or, you know, like, so people sometimes narrow their gifts. And again, a good mentor will tell you your gift is large. What you got to figure out is what vehicles you want to deploy it through.
My God. So how can we follow you find you on social media to support the work you're doing, or just soak up some of these gems that you drop?
Well,
Because
thank you. I appreciate that. I need, just caveat, I need to update my website, but it is my name. So it's www.shaashawn.com. So I know it's on the screen, ShaashaWN. I am on Instagram. I am on Facebook. I think Facebook, I have a personal account and an author account. Just send me a message. Don't just request me. Send me a message. I heard you or watched you on Dr. Danny Martin's show, and then I'll accept. But yeah, those are the main places I am, and really working. I'm on LinkedIn, of course.
yes.
Shaashawn Dial on LinkedIn as well.
Oh my goodness. What an amazing time. I'm so grateful for you being able to take the time to join us today. What an amazing conversation. I hope at some point you will come back and we will
Absolutely.
tackle something else. You know, my God, just so grateful. So grateful.
Yes. Well, thank you. First of all, I'm proud of you. I'm thrilled for you. I'm excited for you. I just have always loved the way you navigate the room, navigate spaces, pour into our youth, love on our people. And your gift is that huge. So I speak to you to know your gifts are educating and teaching and connecting. Dear heart, Dr. Queen Danny, what vehicles do you want to use to deploy your gift? That's your
Mm,
next chapter as
mhm,
Dr. Danielle Danny Martin. So
mm.
thank you. And I
I
honor you. I
received
adore you. I love you.
love you too. I've received that. Thank you so much. Thank you all so much for joining us today on Education is Freedom. I hope that you've been both inspired and empowered by our conversation today. This show airs the second and fourth Tuesday of each month at 7 p.m. So I'm inviting you to remain connected by downloading the She Is Still Dope app, following us on all social media platforms, and subscribing on YouTube. Until next time, keep shining and never stop learning. We'll see you next time.